Exactly. It's got to be the engage, or it's got to be the execute, or it's got to be the picks and bans. Left side will be elevate, and they will have the first pick and the first ban. Burrito on the other side will have their choice second. And I wonder if we'll see the same 4 bans this time.
Probably wouldn't be surprised for at least Elevate to go for the same exact strategy. It worked last time around, why fix it, honestly? And I think they're going to focus heavily around Dardez and Jermain in terms of their picks, but their bans, yet again, focusing against Dzoni. That Thor was banned in the secondary phase, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
This time the first phase.
Yeah, I got to be careful about that jungler. Elevate here, so, and that's sort of what I'm talking about, is that Elevate understand that Thanatos pick was a group decision, not a Dzoni decision. So they're still afraid of him and his gameplay. Nemesis will either go to for Cherryo one more time, and Burrito again will answer with the Terra.
I like the style, though, that Cherryo has started to implement in his own gameplay. Normally seen playing Guardians or Nasha. Now playing a little, or Hunbats rather, as well. But the Nemesis is something that he's starting to experiment with, it seems. And that first game was well timed to be able to get that early game edge.
With the Thor ban, that means Cernunnos won't be banned. We'll see Jermain get to play the Centaur. And Nemesis and Cernunnos will be joined up in the first round of picks by the Erlang Shen.
Erlang Shen yet again here for Elevate. I like the idea, yet again, the control. Terra was taken away from Dardez this time around, but knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised if he just picks Kabrakan, let's say,
Sure.
just trying to make these rotations. His god pool is just so diverse.
That Susano's a little scary to me. You can see Serket and Thor are 2 of the 3 junglers that Dzoni has proven to be able to take off with. Susano is the 3rd, and he's selected there. So Elevate trying out the new Nemesis seems to be working, but I think I would have been happier if the Susano was the selection.
Isis, the first ban from Burrito, trying to take that from Nulisa, and Ares targeting out against Dardez. Surprised they don't ban out the Janus here, considering how much mobility it provided for Elevate. They took away the Terra, which was nice, because that was a lot of mobility, but they should have probably got rid of that second mobility factor.
Yeah, I mean, Nulisa set up the flank on the left side by the tier 2 tower with the portal. There was invades coming out with the portal. I love it. Janus, the selection, absolutely. Almost every time, I'm fine with it if she goes to Janus.
And there's just so much room to play with, despite getting first blood here for Nulisa. Janus is a god that can still play from behind, still make some necessary adjustments in her teamfight aspects. You can never really go wrong with this god. There's a little bit of an unreliable damage factor in terms of the unstable vortexes or the through space and time, but Freya is another great late game magical damage dealer.
Freya mid. I think we're gonna. She might go. Yeah, it's got to be Houyi mid. Freya a little bit too dangerous. We'll see when we get in the game. But Freya just very, very late game, very punishable as well.
Yes, indeed. We saw how Freya was just getting bamboozled when Terra was first released. Freya used to just absolutely wreck in the late game, but there's a lot of control on the side of Burrito here with the Susano, with this Terra now as well. On the side of Burrito, they could be the ones to start engaging first.
They could be. We'll definitely have to see it. Will be. Kespainify will be playing the Freya, which means she's in the duo lane, and we'll have the Houyi mid for DeathPanter. Yeah, sorry about that. We'll fix that in a moment.
Kespainify looking like he wants to try to get off a decent amount of damage, going for that Soul Stone to start things off and trying to get those in-hand procs. Jermain trying to start off the way first, while Dardez is going to spot out this red buff here. If he finds this steal, it's going to severely cripple this duel lane.
Yeah, unable to really grab that just yet, it looks like. But Dardez is here for the whole party. Just waiting to see. All right, yeah, there it is. I think he gets the second one.
Yeah, he stole the second one there. I like the idea coming out of Burrito just to secure their little ogres, because they realize that they can't contest the dual lane push here quite yet out of Elevate. So instead, they're going to deny all the little ogres, or at least try to deny all of them, securing 3 of the 4 out of their own.
Janus there by herself, battling out against DeathPanter's Houyi. This makes much more sense in the mid lane than a Freya. The ultimate obviously is very mage-like, easier clear, much safer. Freya needs a lane to hide in, which is your outside lanes, not your inside lane.
In the right-hand side, Sibi was soloing his own blue, being left alone 1v2 against Cherryo and the soul laner. Nulisa going to get pulled back in. Portal into her own tier 1 tower. Nice little ricochet from DeathPanter, but the unstable vortex is going to return the favor.
Any other mage dies there, Toli.
Yes.
Any other mage dies there. Love the Janus choice.
Just no potential to really lock her down. Nice ricochet yet again from DeathPanter. That's 2 times in a row. Really afraid of the pull here out of Dzoni, so taking the portal under her own speed buff. Has to be careful considering she's only at about half health here. But having the Bumbus Mask for nulisa allows her to still sustain it up once these back harpies start respawning.
Nulisa seems to forget her positioning before level 4. And then when she hits level 4, she nails it.
That's true. A lot of gods have different play styles before level 5, after level 5, and there's no exception with Janus, especially if you go for the cooldown reduction route where you get even more portals, more thresholds for more mobility, and I think nulisa is just kind of still playing that mid to late game Janus. But either way, this time, she didn't die yet, so that's a plus.
Yeah, of course. I mean, she was standing by the ricochet, which is, come on now. You're better than that. But like I said, she forgot her positioning earlier on. Oh, I like the skin.
That was a little flag on the turtle shell.
Yeah,
that was cute.
It was the Hindu flag.
That was a little cute one, but
yeah, I like that one.
Duo lane so far, Jermain getting the better end here, securing the red buff invade earlier on, taking that away from Kespainify. It's always a smart idea whenever there's such a late game presence, whether you're looking at Kali, you're looking at Freya, to target that god and not allow them to really pop off in the early game, trying to shut down their late game potential.
Yeah, you're trying to find those spots a little bit early on that you can really take advantage of the fact that they went super late game, because it will pay off. It will pay off if we get there. The thing is, you're kind of fighting 4 on 5. We saw a rival vote NBK play around the Freya, which, let it be known, I personally love this character, but I think right now is, if Freya winds up working, it's because your other 4 players won the game for you already.
That's true. We saw, like you were mentioning before, Vote playing the Freya a week ago, actually, was struggling in the early game, getting camped 1v2, 1v3 repeatedly, but despite that, the other 4 players bailed him out of a sticky situation. Yeah. But that's the X factor that you always have to be looking out for. If that Freya gets to the late game, gets about 3-4 items completed with some more mobility, you're looking at a very devastating magical damage dealer.
Yeah, so if things stay even, you lose. Because the Freya comes out and just winds up being Freya in that late game. Once you give her about 3 or 4 items, you can really, really go nuts.
Still looking like the game is at a relatively standstill, rather, as Burrito is doing a good job stagnating it compared to the last time around. They looked for an earlier speed buff invade in game number 1, whereas Dzoni didn't die, but he wasn't successful in the invade. He got bailed out by DeathPanter, but this time it's looking like they wanted to play it slow. Whatever they were talking about in game number 1, it seems that it's been working out at least. They're still dictating their own pacing.
Yeah, that's the key there, is that we're playing Elevate's game. We're not playing somebody else's game. That's really the key here, is that they're looking to really, no numbers. He's going to find a number in his death column right there. Fusify puts first blood on the board. Needed all 4 members, though, to show up. So that's going to put, look at where Freya gets pushed out as soon as she has no help.
All the way between that tier 1 and tier 2, being left alone in a 1v1 against any physical hunter, let alone Cernunnos, that has a decent amount of control between his root and the wild hunt, is not a good spot for the Freya. But on the right-hand side, the reasoning such a heavy commitment was held was because no numbers used his mink or turtle form to engage onto Sibi. We saw him use that Eagles Rally at about 25% health for good reason. Everyone else from a Burrito with that Terra's Blessing for the mobility easily capitalizing.
And because of that, that allows Burrito to sit up about 500-600 points, or gold, excuse me, points. 500 gold here is pretty much just the first blood gold that Burrito's going to be able to obtain. So Elevate has to find it elsewhere. Do you think we're going to see the early gold fury at all?
At this point, it depends if Kespainify gets bullied out really hard by Jermain. Cherryo is right around the corner, which forces out Fusify to sit here longer than he really wants to. Jermain found a red buff of his own. Kespainify hasn't really found his own, as DeathPanter's picked that up for the mid lane, which is not a bad idea here for Burrito. You really want this physical hunter in your mid lane to get off a lot of damage between those ricochets and the suns.
Yeah, that's one of the big deals. I'm glad you touched on the Freya, was because Elevate's composition gets Kespainify in a ton of trouble. She's going to go ahead and find the lift, and the Phi brothers will be able to walk away here. But Elevate doesn't exactly have a composition that screams early objectives to many people. But if that's what if that's what happens, totally, if they're able to chase out 1 or 2 players, then that window is great. They don't have an objective of securing team comp, but they have a kill team comp. Down goes Johnny.
Johnny not able to get off his ultimate. Great pressure from Elevate, catching this jungler out of position, just laughing away into victory here. So still getting an answer.
Look at Sibi. Sibi committed with the teleport rotation after the fight was over. That feels bad.
Yeah, as a solo laner, you always want to be making an impact, especially when you have this 1 level lead. But honestly, sometimes it's better to just sit behind and get the farm, unless there was going to be a tier 1 tower dive. It's a very situational factor.
Kespainify in some more trouble as well. Jermain dancing in the Terra nonsense a little too long. Has to go ahead and activate the Aegis. Possible rotation from Janus teased out thanks to the ultimate, though she's not going to be coming along for the ride. Nulisa, that is.
Jermain able to sustain quite heavily here with his kid, still giving you a little bit of lifesteal during shifting of his seasons. You have more physical power, more penetration. You have the slow as well from your winner's chill, but the lifesteal, not the most favored one, but after taking a beating like that, certainly appreciated.
Yeah, just more of a tool than an absolute terror. Ooh, trouble here. One heartbeat goes the way of Johnny, one goes the way of Cherryo. Nice little split there coming on from the guys on, well, both sides.
Wanting to save that last hit, but the slice and dice. Trying to bait out the hit coming out of Cherryo, but instead Cherryo...
Are we completely even, Toli?
Pretty much.
We were no. We were gold tied for 4 ticks. You guys don't understand. I've been casting this for like 4 years. I have never seen the
separation
gold
of
ticks.
5. Look
yeah.
at that.
Before it was 0. Like, that was incredible. Clip it.
I mean, but everyone starts off the game even.
Stop it. Oh my goodness. But then somebody picks up a minion here, minion there. Burrito picks up the oracles. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Especially so, like, it's not super late in the game, but still, for it to be past...
Many variables have happened.
Yeah, between invades and kills, first bloods, all that stuff, it plays a big factor here. But despite all the gold that we're talking about, Elevate have a comfortable 2,000 experience gap here, still able to find edge case scenarios where they're just denying some important farm, and most of it is against Kespainify, so he's had to back.
Oh, wow. Dardez plays that smart. Understanding exactly how much or how little damage he's going to do as a Guardian, understanding that the Scourge can hit, finds the last hit. So that's one of those small things that not many people would have been able to pull that off. And it seems so little.
I mean, Dardez has been around the block as a Guardian here, and he loves to play aggressive. He loves to flirt with danger, so he's always going to put himself in those positions.
Cherryo's not flirting with danger. Cherryo's going on a date. Maybe we get married here. Aegis is over, and so is his life. DeathPanter gets the kill, but again, Burrito only seemed to be able to do things when the grouped up is 4.
And the ultimate from Nulisa just a little bit too late, using it to get into the rotation instead of trying to use it to save the life of her jungler. Cherryo needs to be more mindful of his positioning, but it was a great ambush coming out of Burrito. They had the Sentry Ward vision control around the Gold Fury, and they used it to their advantage, hugging the wall just like they're doing now.
Yeah, this is the second time they're going to be able to do this, and we're still going to watch Elevate fall for it. Oh my goodness. This time it's Dardez, however. The tanky Sobek able to walk away. Listen, you fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. Elevate have to learn from that one.
They need to be a little bit more grouped before they start face checking or trying to lay down some of these wards. At least have 2 or 3 people. Don't leave anybody behind, because every single time Burrito has gotten a kill, it's been with at least 4 members to assist.
Right, and that's... Oh, man. I feel like that's troublesome. Now, it's not... All we see is positives, right? But I feel like if Burrito can only make these plays when it's a 4-on-1, then what happens when it's an even team fight?
Well, as long as they can keep setting up these ambushes, they're playing this guerrilla warfare style tactic that's
Set up an ambush here.
Yeah, they're like, you know, you spam out those VGS commands and you hope that it works out for your rank games, but there's no hope here in the SPL. You practice strategies like that, and it gets executed.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing, is I love seeing those clear-cut plans, those plays. I love seeing those, but my problem is, what other plays do Burrito have in the book? And hey, look, Elevate, they
doing the
caught
same
on.
thing.
They're going to do the same thing. Fusify dies to his own play. I don't know if the window's open this wide for Gold Fury, though.
I mean, DeathPanter has no mana.
His ult is down.
He has no mana at all because Kespainify was doing his own purple buff instead of trying to contest it. One whoop out of Freya resets the Gold Fury because of the way the AI mechanic works. It technically puts you out of the circle. If no one's in the circle for Gold Fury, it resets. And not only that, Valkyrie's Discretion does quite a bit of damage. So there's a, not only is there a reset potential for Kespainify, there's a steal factor as well.
Is Freya the only... I'm sitting here. You know me. I always want to see somebody jump in there. Always.
Sure.
With Freya already down 2.5, 3 levels, I'm not sure if I want to see Freya go for that. Even though I'm Mr. Always Throw Your Life Away for it, I think that Freya needs to be competitive here.
But we saw what Elevate was able to do with such a commanding lead in game number 1, despite Kespainify being, 2 to 2.5 levels behind Jermain. There's no time to allow them a free Gold Fury. You cannot allow the same momentum that Elevate had in game number 1.
Well, that's a great pull coming out from Dzoni, and the jump over the top could be good. Unfortunately, nulisa finds a way through the wall, and the fight's going to continue on the right side near the Fire Giant. There's the ultimate double rally here. Great play coming out from Sibi, and the follow for the mid lane going to be onto Cherryo, who does have the shield. DeathPanter, he can't shoot through the portal.
He took the portals. Cherryo, what are you doing, madman? But he had the double dash available. Nice little wait and patience out of Burrito, expecting the jungler to take the portal. But yet again, Dardez not able to take the portal this time.
Couldn't reach it, and that's a kill for Freya. Trouble for no numbers. He'll find a way out. So it's a 1 for none. Ooh, a lot of crazy stuff.
Oof.
Did you see DeathPanter try and shoot through the portal? Did you see that?
He tried to probably time it in such a way that somebody was going to go through it.
Okay.
You know?
I'll give you that one. I can see your face. You're trying to make an excuse.
I've always wanted some sort of interaction with Janus portals in terms of abilities to go through it. Imagine a ricochet. You find a double bounce off a ricochet and the third one goes through the Janus portal.
Oh my god.
That would be some madness.
No numbers trying to get the kill on the Sibi, but he'll walk away, no problem.
Just too tanky at this point. Finishing off a spectral armor here for Sibi. A great little idea to be able to stop any further aggression from such close range melee characters.
Burrito wins that fight, right? Easy. 1 done. Yes.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah, easy.
They killed Dardez, but they were too low to get anything off of it afterwards.
Problem is, Elevator's still up by about 2K.
Well,
Gold Fury.
That Gold Fury was a big impact, like we mentioned before. No mana on DeathPanter to stop it. Kespainify was more content about getting the purple buff.
I'll ask you flat out. Should Kespainify have gone for the Gold Fury?
Absolutely.
Really?
No hesitation whatsoever. You have a whoop to reset it. You can do it very safely in the Valkyrie's Discretion, but not safe under his own tier 1 tower, getting dove by the Bruise Brothers. What a great aggressive performance here out of Elevate. They just don't let go.
Yeah. I mean, that's the important part about Jermain and Dardez. They have this locking jaw that once it bites down, it physically can't let go. I think it's a big part of what Elevate bring to the table is that these guys are, they won't let go of you at all. 3-0-1 for Jermain here. And totally, analysis aside, let me just tell you, especially in the wake of Zapman leaving, I love watching Jermain. Hyper-aggression is so much fun to watch. Like
old school Zadman status. Yeah, we have not seen too many Hunter performances. I think of Vote out of Rival. I think of Jermain here out of Elevate. These are your 2 Hunters that still play aggressive. nulisa getting very...
I think of nulisa ulting so the whole team can dive a Phoenix in game number 1. That's like, I love this style. Is it always the best? Absolutely not. Is it always fun to watch? Absolutely.
The flashy plays out of Elevate. Terra's Blessing being used. Sibi has to retreat under his own tier 1 tower. Dardez says, no, you don't. Eagles Rally says, yes, I do. But a small little marginal victory here. Elevate able to still get this one.
Oh, Sibi on the edge coming so close to no numbers. Kespainify with the ultimate finally takes him down. There's going to be Cherryo running out for the tower, able to save his life. Dzoni gets tossed in, hit off the wall. But luckily for him, he'll be fine. Ooh, Jermain dealing out those basics now.
Just not enough pressure here. nulisa can't find the follow-up that she really wants to. A lot of ultimates still being saved from Elevate, whereas you're looking at Burrito, all 5 were used. You're still looking at Lurking in the Water, the Nemesis ultimate, and Through Space and Time, and for a good reason. They get the Portal Demon despite losing no numbers. This is a win here.
Yeah.
For Elevate.
Oh, absolutely. And Elevate right here, look, Tully, I mean no disrespect to Burrito, but they're an up-and-coming team in Elevate, despite the fact that they have been put down a peg by Fails leaving. They are still a couple of steps forward of where Burrito is at. I expect Burrito to follow in the footsteps of Elevate, to sort of struggle and find a spot, find their identity, figure out what they do, and I think we'll see a very similar story. But at the moment, I think that Elevate have just... They started going to the gym earlier, and they're a little bit stronger.
They don't want to be known as the split machines anymore.
Yeah.
They only found a split so far against Poppies, losing to both Dignitas and Energy. You know, not too surprising, but considering Elevate has been known to split with these teams before, a little surprising, but either
Losing
way,
Fails was big.
that was a big deal, absolutely. But Elevate are looking pretty clean and clear so far in the second game to get this 2-0 clean sweep.
Listen, Jungle is... Ooh, Sibi just trying to get a ward down. Instead, he's going to get in trouble. Jungle is... this is a MOBA, so I have to be very careful. A lot of people would agree that Jungle is one of the more important positions in Smite.
Wow, what a blink pluck from Dardez, setting up the engage. Dzoni gonna fall very quickly. Sibi is in a lot of trouble on Stable Vortex off the mark, but Lurking in the Water gonna bring the solo laner with him.
That one just came out of nowhere. Just blink, pluck, see you later. And as I'm talking about the junglers, it's the junglers now. Shouts to the support, but the junglers wind up on screen, one with the kill, one with the death. But my point is that losing a dominant player that's your jungler, your decision-making and your core team philosophy has to be rebuilt. Because your jungler, whether or not everybody agrees that jungle is the most important or whatever the word is, at the end of the day, the jungle dictates a lot of what happens in this game.
It's all about the pacing, and junglers, you're looking at the waves in the mid solo dueling, and then there's the jungle, obviously, right? Everybody's already sitting pretty in the lanes anyway, but your jungle, with all these camps around the corner,
Yeah.
there needs to be some coordinated fashion to be able to not only secure your buffs, but to be able to prevent the enemy from securing theirs freely. And this current situation for Dzoni, he's been not having a good time, as everyone from Elevate has been pressuring him out quite heavily, whether it's the Thanatos or the Susano.
Oh, Dardez. You're absolutely correct on that one. And that's a team thing. I think Elevate has just been a little bit stronger in that regard. Cherryo in some trouble with the dash backwards. As soon as his teammates show up, oh, the mind games were incredible there. I love to watch that play. No kill off of it, however.
Nice juke from Cherryo. Dive bomb, thinking about it, but DeathPanter respecting no numbers. Kespainify right around the corner here. Burrito needed to kind of force something out here. We saw no numbers dive that tier 1 tower. Great Eagles rally to save the life of his jungler. Dzoni even having to use that ultimate defensively as well. Being plugged into the action as Fusify.
Oh my goodness. Dardez, every pluck matters. So many Sobeks, totally, we watch, and the plucks either miss or don't have an impact. I feel like every single time Dardez goes for it, somebody's in trouble.
Terra's Blessing giving everyone increased mobility. Nice little crits coming out of here from Jermain, but he's in a lot of trouble. Valkyrie's discretion.
Dzoni gets the kill thanks to everybody else. Jermain just a little bit too far up. Dardez didn't have the option, and now Burrito on the aggressive. Like this play, Toli. Dardez gets his pluck chase.
No numbers, made the teleport here, trying to help out his teammates. Dzoni taking a decent amount of damage thus far, but gonna walk away cleanly here. Despite it being a 4-on-5 for Burrito, they're still taking out this tier 1 tower instead of going for more kills, whereas Cherryo's have health.
Elevate was more concerned about the speed buff than they are about the tier 1 on the right-hand side. Whether or not that's the right call, Toli, I'm not too sure.
Cherryo getting the heal off of the shield. The damage from Kespainify is starting to get felt. No numbers caught between a rock and a hard place.
Here comes nulisa right on through. Ultimate hits 2 people. The Unstable Vortex does the dirty work, taking down Kespainify. Not done yet. There's nulisa with the doubloon. All thanks to the ultimate Janus, baby, the god of doors.
Great play play out of nulisa. The mobility yet again fell. We were talking about it in picks and bans, how they ban away Isis and the Ares instead of that Janus, and showing why nulisa needs to be respected playing the God of Portals.
So that first blood that didn't go to first blood with the triple ricochet that nulisa gets out of there, Janus only. The flank on the left side in game number 1 where Cherryo wraps around, Janus only. 2 ultimates in game number 1, Janus only. That double kill, Janus only. You see where I'm going with this? This god, now whether it's a fit for every single team, that's a different conversation, but for Elevate, just pick the damn Janus. Look at all these plays that they're able to make. And by the way, you know how much Jermain and Dardez get into trouble? Now nulisa could bail them out. On top of all of the plays she's making, Janus only. I love the way that not only nulisa, but Elevate play around Janus.
Positioning is such a key factor here, and not only Smite, but a lot of other tactical games. So this is a guy that will certainly help you not only be aggressive, but reposition defensively whenever you need to. Now you look at her damaging abilities between Unstable Vortex and through space and time. Sure, you could hit those abilities and turn a team fight completely, but you're really picking this god for the offensive and defensive repositioning factor.
I don't even recall who the player was that died on the second part of the double kill in the mid lane. He was gone. He was so safe. Janus comes from a mile away, takes him out. Janus this time up close and personal, takes down DeathPanter, has Elevate assault the right side. Phoenix, down it goes. 2 Phoenixes left, unstable still. Finding Johnny, bringing him down to about 10%. Why are you backing? Just walk, thank you. No. Mid lane Phoenix still in trouble.
Yeah, when you're that close, there's no reason to honestly back. It's a 5-second recall timers. You can walk back quicker than that. Doing defensive things as Sibi, as he uses that Eagles rally, holding onto his middle Phoenix just for a little bit longer.
Key point, just a little bit longer. Hunter getting some swings in there. There's the tornado out of Johnny. Cherryo giving chase. Nice stun. Fusify saving his jungler. Johnny just barely getting away. Well done by the Burrito support, but Sibi falls down to Jermain in the main fight. There's going to be Jermain getting Kespainify in the main fight. 2 kills already for the Hunter. Not even turning around looking at the Phoenix.
Fusify forced to go into that Aegis Amulet, as well as nulisa finally going for that middle Phoenix. Elevate securing themselves the second Phoenix of the game. They have Fire Giant for another minute, 45 seconds, as they're looking for the last Phoenix on the left. But if they commit to this, there's not going to be any minions in their aid.
Grass is green. The sky is blue. Elevate are over-aggressive. Sometimes they just see red, totally. But like I said, you know what? It's fun as hell to watch, so it is what it is. Johnny, not on the spot. Number 14 for Elevate as nulisa puts him down.
I love what Cherryo did there. He was tanking the Phoenix for a little bit there. He uses his Bracer of Undoing Relent just to get the health back, then pops the Nemesis shield to get even more health in return. Great little tactic here. We actually even saw it the last game. I'm pretty sure Johnny picked up that relic as well when he was behind. And getting that extra cooldown reduction here, it reminds me back in the old days of Season 1 Smite, where you had Tier 3 purification beads. You rush that item just for the cooldown reduction.
There's so much outplay potential with Bracer of Undoing. I love it. With the Thanatos selection, along with other gods that have low cooldowns, right? Thanatos, Habwa, characters that have Vulcan even. You build cooldown on Thanatos, your Death Scythe becomes like a 4 or 5 second cooldown. You throw the Death Scythe, you hit it, and then it's up again. Obviously, you gotta wait 2 seconds or 3 seconds, right? But the idea is what I call the double shotgun blast. Bang! Bracer. Bang! You see that on Habwas all the time, and it's a lot of fun. Cherryo using it there, more utility than aggressive, but this is an item that I think is great against burst compositions. Looking at Burrito and what they have here, it's going to be functional against that. Oh, I got bursted. JK, I'm back. And then you have all of your abilities up a second time, essentially. I love the selection.
And with the changes happening to Sunder, there's a lot of more encouragement to try out different relics. Fusify going to use that Terra's Blessing, getting plugged into the action. Defensive ultimate from nulisa, trying to escape from Johnny's clutches, but under this mid-Phoenix, Fusify forced to retreat alongside the rest of his team.
This is a win. This is a win. Elevate doesn't need the damage out of the mage because everybody else is taking care of things. But hey, nulisa's gonna get the kill anyway. 1v1 against the Johnny. Kespainify does pick up Cherryo, but Nemesis is probably the the character that I don't mind leaving in this 3-on-3 when I've got a Sobek, I've got a Cernunnos, and an Erlang Shen.
The damage is there for Elevate if they want to go for it, but Fireshine is respawning in 15 seconds. Nulisa is very low, so she's playing in the backline as long as she possibly can, trying to throw out these unstable vortexes through the wall. Barely going to clip out on Sibi. Titan getting really low, less than 25% health. Second game,
look at that.
Elevate, they clean him out.
Oh my goodness, Elevate, so much fun to watch, 16-6. And they're up about 20,000 gold here, 23K to be precise. Look, man, like I said, is it the cleanest? No. Is it the most professional or the best? Absolutely not. But is it fun to watch? You're damn right.
I mean, the first game surrendered by Burrito before the 20-minute mark. Second game, they had the game relatively even up until that first Gold Fury from Elevate, which wasn't contested at all by Kespainify. I think that was the biggest factor that started to go Elevate's way.
I'm very curious about that one. That one tears me up. I'm Mr. Throw everything at the objective and see what happens. I'm not sold that Kespainify needed to throw his life away there, because, I mean, if a Freya goes for it, even if she does get it, she's dead.
Well, you got the Valkyrie's discretion, which could buy you some time, at least for your teammates to start trying to bail you out. But also, you could wrap behind the Gold Fury, and you could do a sneaky whoop. And that's all you need to reset it.
But you have to hope that the enemy's playing poorly enough to be grouped up.
Sure, which could happen every now and then, right? Like, you have, when you're behind 2 to 2.5 levels, as Kespainify was, you're looking for some way to get back in the game. And now is this one opportunity.
I suppose I always kind of think of Freya sort of dangling on the end, like, hey, just play 4v5 and maybe I'll win later, you know? So, I don't know. I'm torn on that. I might put it for a poll out on Twitter. But right now, we've got the people that are going to break it down for us. Shouts to LHS, the Zach Dick.
Welcome back to the desk. I'm joined now by Taco. How you doing, Taco?
I'm doing pretty good. Feeling pretty good, especially after watching those 2 sets. So, well, casting the first one, technically. But
casting, yeah.
You know how it goes.
I don't know how it goes, actually. This is my first day.
Not yet.
Yeah.
You will. I mean, at least they started you off at the desk.
I was going to make a joke about that, but then I thought it might have been a little played out, so I didn't know if I was allowed to do that.
No, it's all right. There's only a minor amount of salt reserved from that one, but no, not seriously. Come on, you know I never do anything personally, but yeah, it was overall just really a lot of fun. I think especially in that first set, but I want to pay attention in particular to Elevate in that secondary set because they looked so much more cleaned up. And granted, playing against Burrito, who's also a team trying to really find their transition from Challenger into SPL level of gameplay. But I think overall, Elevate just did an excellent job performing. I
agree. I think we're really seeing Elevate sticking to that upward trend. You know, we had some questions going in with how the replacement for Fails would go. You know, first we had Nika, now we have Cherryo, and this is Cherryo's second week. How do you feel like Cherryo did?
I think that Cherryo is playing the way that Cherryo has always played. He plays to his strengths, and his strengths in particular are just finding either the shred potential or just looking for the gods that can assist his team the best. And when you're playing a composition based around the Janus in particular, I think that Cherryo's selection is what really helped nulisa shine throughout this set. And I think overall, he hasn't really missed a beat since he left the jungle role.
He definitely has it. He's looked. There was a little bit of rust, you know, as to be expected when you come back into the game. But he's really picked up. He's been able to make plays. And let's talk about like the nulisa, like on the Janus. That was amazing. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about Jermain. The Bruise brothers in the dual lane. How important is Jermain to this team?
They've established a title for themselves for a reason, and it's simply because whenever Jermain is popping off, you can always credit that a little bit to Dardez, who kind of gets overlooked sometimes because he's just constantly making Jermain actually look good. No, but seriously, Jermain is an excellent player, and the fact that he's able to consistently perform well, even in times where his team isn't necessarily having the greatest time of their lives, it just goes to show how strong he is as a player.
You look at that 8.5 KDA, that's insane. That's not something you usually see, but he's coming out, he's making the plays, and he's super aggressive. You know, we always make jokes about the Zapman being the most aggressive hunter, but with Zapman out, Does that mean Jermain is now the most aggressive hunter?
I think FDOT kind of pointed it out in cast. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily the most aggressive hunter, but he's definitely one of the top hunters when it comes to looking for that aggression. I think that Vote is also another one of those hunters that loves kind of just going in. Warchi started to adapt a little bit more to that playstyle as well. And so all around, I think hunters in general are just learning to be a little bit more aggressive, because it's either we get aggressed on with Sunder and then we complain about, you know, just dying instantly, or we're the ones that try to just all-in somebody, and that's really what Jermain tends to do. He looks for the all-in potential, and he's able to secure it a lot of the times.
Well, speaking of how well Jermain played in Game 1, let's go back and let's talk about nulisa on Janus in Game 2. How good is nulisa's Janus?
It's kind of just, you don't let nulisa get Janus for a reason, and that's because she runs it. And it's absolutely incredible watching her mid lane gameplay on this god in particular, because it's a god that she's so evidently comfortable with, and it's very clear that she knows Janus.
Especially, you go back, you look at that one play where she juked out the Susano and then just blew him up. You know, just being able to know a character inside and out like that, like, it's a comfort pick, yes, but how does that impact you when you play a comfort pick?
You gotta feel a little bit for Johnny in that circumstance, because that was rather unfortunate. I think this is actually it coming up right now, where you just kind of, I don't think that he was expecting the damage from it, but that's just what Janus has provided with that threshold that she crosses over, and then immediately twos him into his death. And that's just absolutely wonderful gameplay. And I mean, she's a very proficient mid lane player in general. I think that she's very strong on a lot of the mages. And Janus isn't really a pick that we get to see too often, other than really Chaos on the terms of NA. But even then, it's not a very highly regarded pick right now, and a lot of that's mostly because of how the meta is, and that Janus takes a little bit more to kind of get going. But with nulisa on this Janus, I mean, she helped her team get going, and that's not something that you're accustomed to seeing.
I not only did she play well on the Janus, she was able to play well and then save her teammates. You know, the Bruise brothers, they go in deep, but then with the Janus, she's able to get them out. How important as a linchpin in that comp is the Janus?
Having somebody who knows how to not only engage, but effectively disengage an entire team is probably one of the best parts about Janus players. And nulisa being a top of the charts Janus player, she's going to be able to recognize when a situation is turning south, and okay, we just need to all fall back immediately. And I mean, having that recognition is really just what helped lead, I think, Elevate into their 2-0 victory against Burrito today.
Okay, so that was our Game 1 Elevate Burrito. Let's look at that was our Game 2. So let's go look at our Game 1, Poppies and Rival. Was this an upset?
Was this an upset? I don't consider it an upset personally, and I had a ton of fun. I don't know if people back at home, hopefully they could tell that I was, you know, having a lot of fun with that set with Hindu, but it was really fantastic personally watching the Poppies, because this isn't a team that I would necessarily expect to qualify to Valencia. I'm not even sure that they're capable of making it to Valencia right now unless they get some like crazy 2-0 sets, but it's a team that I was looking forward to really developing throughout this split, because watching a team progress from the top tier level of challenger play into that SPL level of play, it's kind of what we've been looking for from Burrito, but Poppies are showing it. They've waited so long to finally have their chance to shine, and this is it.
They definitely had a little bit of a rough start. You know, the schedule was not kind to them, and now, you know, playing against Rival wasn't exactly viewed as the stronger team going into that matchup, but Ojo Boom with the Vulcan, he put the team on his back. How big was the impact that he had on the Vulcan?
Ojo Boom was an incredible player on this Vulcan. He had a lot of discipline in game number 1, and that's really the most important aspect, because he waited for the setup from his team to happen before utilizing his Vulcan ultimate, and it was that patience that he had, waiting for Draco to go in, waiting for Warchier and just anybody else to know that they also had the follow-up damage, and for Dalo to be nem-ulting people. That's really the what you need, is that awareness from your mid laner, and he had it.
So, yes, there was a lot of weight on Ojo Boom's back with this Vulcan. What else did the team around him do to really facilitate that victory.
It really just comes back to that Ganesh gameplay for me, and Jermain has an excellent Ganesh, and I think that it didn't really get to come through in game number 2 for him, but in game number 1, at the very least, he was excellent on this god. The silences were on point, completely setting up Dalo every single time with a Nemesis ult. It just makes things all too easy when you have all this setup to facilitate and just execute it, and it was wonderful to watch them play.
So talking about the Ganesh, are we seeing Ganesh as like a top tier support right now?
Not necessarily a top tier support, but definitely one to keep an eye on. And again, that's just predominantly because of how that silence can be utilized when you have a god that's able to silence out members from their kits, and especially teams that pick that initial, they want the initiating factor. That's what Rival were looking for with the Thor and the Athena in game number 1, but they were unable to find it because of how strong that silence ended up being.
He definitely had a few key plays, especially early on with that silence. You know, there was the point where somebody got rooted, somebody had the hard CC, and then he said, no more follow-up.
Yep.
You are not getting any abilities off. So that was, huge play from the Ganesha. But, going into game 2, we got Geb solo. Deathwalker on Geb. What is that?
I mean, we've seen it before. The Outpost solo, everybody thought it was a bit of a meme, bit of a prank, and Geb is kind of the same thing. It's not really a prank patrol anymore. It's actual legitimate strategy from Deathwalker, and it's very clear why he felt comfortable with it. He played this god to a T because it requires so much execution to not get punished with the get pick early on, but the way that he handled himself and made sure to position himself as that frontlining factor for his team, but also just being cognizant of where his teammates were to provide them the necessary shields to ensure that they stayed alive in team fights and get their free casting abilities off. And he was just so tanky. It's a Geb. He's so tanky, and he's got Sunder, so it's not fun at all to deal with.
What more could have the Poppies done in that set to try to eliminate the Geb from the game?
They needed the early pressure. They just needed to look purely for the early pressure, but I think that they were anticipating a little bit more aggression in the mid lane because they kind of felt that Rival were probably just going to try and ignore the solo lane side, feeling as though, well, they obviously felt that Creed was going to be fine if he just solo secured his blue buff and then could outpressure Deathwalker, but because Rival started speed and blue from the get-go, then they had their own buff timers, and Poppies could never really get in after that. They couldn't look for the buff invades because it's hard to do that when the enemy team has the cycle.
All right, so we had the Poppies split with Rival. So let's go look at the EU standings after our first set of games for the day. Obviously still Dignitas on top, nothing's changed there. But the Poppies now 2 points.
Slowly making their way up the ladder, and like I mentioned, it's not necessarily a team that you'd expect to make it to Valencia, and I'm really not certain that that's possible for them anymore, but they're a team that I think could very well work themselves into that 5th position. If anything, I think that there's a lot of potential still on the board for them, and also you've got Elevate picking up their first set win, and having that set win was very solid for them, gave them a nice few points. That's always beneficial. But yeah, Enix, Dig, and Obey still sitting pretty on top.
Okay.